Hello, Yoga 108 seekers and sages. I am so glad you're here, and I am so glad that Lisa Turner is back. She has, I don't know, a lot of really inspiring ideas to share with us about what's going on in the skies, and perhaps you've gotten a little bit of a hint based on what's going on the earth. Because as above, so below. When there's a lot going on down here, it means that there's a lot going on up there. So let's talk about it. Let's unpack it.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can snatch for ourselves.
So it is the 13th today, right? February 13th. And the natural thing would be to talk about love and relationships. However, decided to change it up and shake it up. And we're not going to talk about love and relationships and Venus. However, I was telling Tracy, you know, I do have some like little leather leggings on today because Venus is an Aquarius and it is kind of, you know, a very unconventional, charged up type of energy.
Venus.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have the you know, patent leather pants going on. But what I really wanted to talk about is actually what that Aquarian energy feels like. Like, there's a lot of it. My notes say we have 5 planets right now in Aquarius, and they're trining the North Node. So there's this forward movement, right? So there is this nodal connection of where we're meant to go. I really like this North Node in Gemini, because it's a trine, so it's air and air. It's information. Sometimes, you know, that South Node is in Sag. I have a lot of Sag in my chart. It's in the 9th house, so it's a really strong Sag. We get really stuck in our beliefs. And sometimes when we get stuck in our beliefs, we don't really entertain something new information, which is very Aquarian. Aquarian energy is the forward thinking. They are future.
Yeah, and I'm thinking too, when you say that, like getting stuck in our beliefs, like we think getting stuck, we feel a certain stuckness, but getting stuck can just be the comfort zone.
It's exactly what that South Node is.
Right? It's like our numb place where we're really not growing, we're not learning, we're comfortable, so it's not necessarily even stuck in a negative way.
Right.
It's stuck in a very comfortable way, but it's not helping us progress.
Absolutely. So, you know, when we think of that Aquarian energy, we're thinking of awakening. We're thinking of that rebellious spirit, right? So Saturn is the limits and the structure and the boundaries. That Aquarian energy, if you know a lot of Aquarians or have Aquarian strong in your chart, you want to rebel against that. You want to make changes to those structures. The Aquarian energy is the visionary. They are the collective. They are our groups and our society.
And I also think Aquarian as like big picture humanitarian.
They are the humanitarians.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's really dominant in the sky right now. And, you know, as I was kind of sitting with the chart and I was thinking about things from a societal and cultural point of view, I wanted to really know what that definition of freedom meant, because Aquarian energy is the sign of freedom.
Right.
So
the rebel itself
is exactly
the energy that says, I want freedom from these structures.
Absolutely.
I want freedom from the rules and the boxes and the boundaries. I want to color outside the lines.
Yeah. So I'm going to read you what the actual definition of freedom is. And freedom is the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants, without hindrance or restriction. And it just sitting with it, I thought was pretty powerful. As we see things in society change, right? Because we have a lot of things, we have a lot of planets in Aquarius, we have Saturn in Aquarius, right? So we're taking these structures and these rules that Saturnian feel, and we're putting it with Aquarian about changes that need to be made.
And freedoms from, which really, for me, kind of points to this pull and tug, I feel, from different sides, different conversations, different belief systems that all want to capture and kind of commandeer my freedom, my right to think over here, and over here, and maybe I don't want to be on the left or on the right. I don't want to be told yes or no.
Which I love, because what is the opposition, what is the opposite sign of Aquarius? It is Leo. It is about the self-expression. You know, we are meant to be individuals with our own sense of self and our wants and our desires. We each have our own dharma, right?
Yeah.
Now, many voices, very Aquarian, make more of an impact than one. But yoga is a journey through the self to the self, and the self is the sun.
Okay. So you're drawing like this line from the Aquarian collective to the Leo individual.
Yeah.
And both really are talking about like self-love.
Absolutely.
Love for humanity, Aquarius.
Absolutely.
Love for self, Leo. And then you're bringing that back around to the sun, which is source.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, as an observer now, when we throw out words like judgment, cancel culture, as I really sat and reflected with that, and we project so much of what our inner self is to this outer world, right? And there's a teacher out there who talks about pulling the thread, and I love that, and I use that all the time, because as we see things or as we react to things, and we come back to self and we pull that thread going, why do I feel this way? Where is this coming from? Where is this judgment coming from? Or where is this criticism coming from to this outside world? It comes back to self. You pull the thread, you find the source within you and why you are projecting that or seeing that in our outer world.
Right. And I feel like I've talked to this point a lot with my advanced teacher trainees about leadership. Like right now in our society, in a big way, in a small way, and in every step in between, like we need leaders. And quality leaders are the people that have that connection to self, that aren't swayed into this side of the conversation or that side of the conversation or that side of the conversation, and not that side either, but like actually know within themselves how to synthesize and come back to individual personal truth.
Yes.
And alignment, and to hold that for others. Like you have to be really strong to hold that.
You do. So there's a book, and if you are an astrologer or very into the astrology world, there is a rulership book. And as I was, writing up, kind of what I wanted to talk about, I actually wanted to look to see what words and signs were, to kind of just, make sure I was, on the right track. And, the word utopia came to mind. And at first I was like, well, maybe that's a very Aquarian word, but it's not. It's a Neptunian word. And if you think of Neptune and its job, and Neptune is in Pisces, so it's very strong, it's, it's in its own sign, you get lost, right? Utopian is where we all kind of blend together and merge together, where we lose our sense of self. So to kind of like circle back to your point, we do need to have a strong sense of who we are. And we can, it's each individual heartbeat beating as one.
Right.
We are part of a world and of a community, but we don't want to lose our sense of who we are.
Right. And back to like our core value within that. So whether we're going to go back to core value of fear or love.
Yes.
Like really base questions.
Yes.
So that utopia, if we're going to wrap as one heartbeat, then we need to be really clear and intentional about what that heart is going to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
This year we're going to have 3 squares between Saturn and Uranus. So if we think of that in our own lives.
Okay, one more.
Yeah.
Saturn is, we talked a lot about Saturn, so rules, structure,
commitments,
law and order kinds of things. And
the boundaries, the rules.
Gotcha. Uranus,
Awakens, it changes, it's the rebellious.
disruptor.
Yeah.
I just want to go back and read
Yeah.
those two.
Disruptor.
So she's putting those two things together. So she's saying those two things are going to
They're going to clash. They're going to have a source of tension. And, you know, we can see it, right? We can very much see it in society and how society is evolving or changing. But more so to bring that back to self, you know, how we feel that in our own life. Where do we, number one, where are we feeling that in our own life or in our chart? And number two, you know, where have we grown too comfortable? You know, I just moved 45 minutes away from where I was living before, and I've had to like change where I get my hair cut and, you know, who does my oil change. Like very small things, but very scary.
Yeah, and I also always think of the trajectory. Like even changing 1 degree sends you to a different destination.
Yes.
So it's like very individual person.
A detour, a different way to work. You know, a different way to the studio. It throws us off. It throws us off, and we naturally, for some weird reason, think it's going to be bad.
You automatically
think that these changes are going to be bad. And, you know, my mind kind of, it goes on this tangent of thought, and it just weaves in and out. And I was thinking about different things in our world in which Saturn, right? Saturn is the way things have always been. And throughout history, when we've had these rebellious people come along going, well, wait a minute, women need to vote. Wait a minute, free the slaves. Wait a minute. You know, same-sex marriages. And the Saturnian people go, no, you can't do that. There is no change.
Yeah.
It worked out okay. You know, it worked out okay. There, you know, give some measure of flexibility, and when that fear arises or that tension arises within ourselves, follow the thread. Where is it coming from? Why am I fearful of this change?
Right. And it's really worth even a mental exercise. Like when I feel my body tightening up, something was canceled, something was rescheduled. I thought it was going to go this way, now I find out it's not. And I feel that, you know, that resistance coming in. It's like, relax. If that happens, if it's the worst case, like do your mental problem solving. What would the options be around that? What kind of freedom does that create?
Exactly.
Because before I found out, I had a structure of how I wanted it to be. But if it's going to change, then there's space in between and around it. And I get to decide what I do with that space.
Absolutely.
So there's freedom there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So there, you know, there's areas of in our life this year that are going to call for change.
What are the dates on the Saturn?
So the Saturn-Uranus square is going to be February 15th, coming up.
Oh,
2021.
Monday. Hello. Get ready.
June. No, that one on February 15th is at 7 degrees. So it's 7 degrees fixed. So if you have anything, I would say 1 or 2 degrees, you know, on either side of that, it's probably going to affect you, or you're going to feel it.
Okay, so she's saying go to your natal chart if you have it. If you don't, you can get online and just type in free natal chart, put your birth date and time in, place of birth, and you'll get a natal chart. And you're going to look in Aquarius.
You are going to look in Taurus, you're going to look in Leo, you're going to look in Scorpio, and you're going to look in Aquarius. You're looking for, most people feel the harder aspects.
Okay, so write this down, say them again, Lisa.
So you're going to be the Taurus, the Leo, the Scorpio, the Aquarius. So you're looking at that fixed stuff.
Okay.
And you know, fixed signs,
7
they don't
degrees.
like change. Yes.
Around the 7 degree mark, maybe 8, 9, maybe 5, 6, to see are there any planets there for you.
Right around February 15th. February 15th is the first square.
Gotcha.
Then you're going to get it again June 13th of this year at 13 degrees.
Okay.
Okay? And then December 24th of this year at 11 degrees.
Ooh, interesting Christmas. Maybe you should just buy what you want. Don't expect someone to get it for you.
And again, you know, if you have planets, especially personal planets, right? The sun, the moon, Venus, Mercury, even Mars, you're going to feel it personally, right?
Yeah.
Those are those sensitive planets.
So everybody feels these things when they happen, but based on your own chart and when you're born, you'll feel it in different ways, and it shows up in different aspects of your life. So when she talks about houses, those are like the pieces of pie that go around.
The stages, right?
Yes.
The stages of life, the areas of life where they begin to kind of, well, in this case, create some tension,
Right.
that you need to work through.
And tension is opportunity.
It is. It is. Because if you had a chart that was all trines, really, and there's nothing to motivate you to do anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So trines are cooperative, squares are
Tension, challenging. Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, if you're going to be down here on this rock, you might as well do the work, right? Because you'll just be sent back down. So you just might as well take the squares.
Yeah, absolutely.
And get it done.
And if you don't have anything in your natal chart that's hitting those degrees, think about then how you are really reacting out into the world. You know, maybe you're seeing that reaction or that tension from things that are happening in your environment or in the news.
And I'm also always reminded that if it's not hitting me all that hard, then it's my opportunity to hold space for others who might be.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we all kind of work together energetically to kind of keep the rock stable. And sometimes it's the people that are like, well, this doesn't apply to me, this doesn't apply to me, but it really does, because you want to anchor in your stability for those around you that
Absolutely.
maybe are challenged.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, as a reminder, change isn't always bad.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, kind of what Tracy was saying, when you start to feel it in your body, maybe it's a great opportunity for something new, something positive.
And I know I talked a lot about the new moon and the 6 planets. Yeah, on Thursday there were 6 in Aquarius. Now there are 5. See how things move. Now the moon is out of Aquarius. But talked about it as your biggest dreams ever. And the Jupiter's interaction that happens this year and the opportunity that opens up. You can't have that expansion without Saturn also breaking down the structure. So it's part of a bigger picture, and attitude is everything.
It is.
So just like, hey Saturn, come on, dance with me.
Well, and Saturn likes Aquarius, right? I mean, it's traditional ruler, so it feels very comfortable there. You know, our world is changing. You know, I think I love just the play that, you know, Saturn is in Aquarius, and we are now talking about, you know, the internet and the rules that kind of need to be put in place with social media. And I mean, that's amazing. I mean, I just totally get super excited about it, as almost anybody who is, you know, an astrology, you know, person gets really excited about that, going, you know, this fits, it's time. And Saturn is a planet of time, you know, it's time for these changes, but to remember to come back to self.
So it's from the, I would like quiz my trainees. It's from the Bhagavad Gita. Yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self.
Mm-hmm.
So following that thread all the ways back to, and it's
Absolutely.
so challenging right now because everything on the world scene is very, very distracting. And it's very, very easy to relinquish your personal freedom, to relinquish your sovereignty, and to be hooked by the drama and the trauma that's going on. So coming back to that.
Yeah, yes. You know, I think that we all could share stories about the things that we've seen and how our voice or who we are as individuals kind of, you know, I almost feel like there is a sense that they want to remove it, or that society wants us to remove that. I think, which is why, you know, as I was sitting with this going, it really is, it comes back to self. It is the journey to the self. And it's okay that I have my own voice, you know, and I have my own beliefs, but going back to that, you know, all of that air trining that north node, to be open to new information, to be open to a new vision, to be open to a new future, new ideas, you know, and not get stuck in that belief system that we've kind of carried around for so long, that has been overdeveloped, very south node.
Very south node.
Yeah. You know, so be open to that.
And I'll say too, like when things are changing, one really helpful strategy for me is to go not just to self, but like root self. And it can be helpful to go outside and get the cold air in my face, to feel my feet on the ground, to do grounding, jumping, and things that really bring me back to that sense of safety. Because if things are going to change and shift, it can feel very unsettling.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Because if you know your chart, I have no air in my chart.
Well, meet me.
Yeah, I have no
Lots
air
of
in my
air.
chart. So when those elements shift and change, you shift and change with it. So lots of air means I need more of that root. I need more of that grounding. I have a little notepad that I kind of have to jot things down with ideas or things that kind of come. You have to work with that.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I feel like I have so much work to do. I mean, I can't even watch the news and all that because, like, whatever you got going, like, this is my full-time scene right here. So
yeah. But you know, it is a great time. It is a great time to get involved. You know, bringing up the things that you are passionate about, whether any type of humanitarian endeavor. You know, I teach little yogis, and we're gonna start doing the community garden.
Love it.
You know, I mean, yes, give back.
Yes.
We are part of the world. We are a whole, you know?
Yeah.
Individual heartbeats beating as one. I had a teacher at the end of every class, she would say, unity in diversity.
Beautiful.
We are all one.
Yeah.
And to me, that is very much about what's going on, that Aquarian Leo stuff, you know? We are meant to be our own individual and still unite.
Yeah. It's a big job.
It is.
It's a really big job.
Absolutely. And have fun